welcome back to the channel, fool. Thanks for tapping in. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for videos like this.
This is going to blow your mind. A startup company called BrainBridge announced today that they believe that they will be able to successfully perform a head transplant surgery in the next 8 years. The way that this would work is you would take a person with a perfectly healthy and active brain, but their body has cancer or paralysis, and transplant it to a brain dead donor body. What's crazy is that they said that by doing this, the person that's receiving the new body would still be able to maintain their memories, cognitive abilities, and consciousness. They say that the brain could last several hundred years if it had a good working body, and that might be a potential in the future, but that this would also give people with different ailments a second chance.
Does the soul transfer to the new body?
A membrane, you see, that can slide across. These aren't contacts. You can come over here in the light. This is my eye. You can see it's just a slight variation of color that I'm able to toggle back and forth. But that's basically what we have going on. I know it's kind of weird for some people to check out, but you'll notice those changes. So what have we done? Went to the VA, went to specialists. I put a cry out here on TikTok. It seems that I'm not the only person that has some weird eyes going on like this. So if you are out there and you have something like this going on, let me know.
The important point, and the disturbing one, is that he saw slave labor on the moon, and the people who were directing it were these tall Nordic-looking fellows, one of whom could see Swan. And this has been reported by other remote viewers, where sometimes when they're sent to a target, whether it's a contemporaneous target or whether it's some event in the past, they're witnessed by whoever's there,
right,
as if like they're a ghost, and those people are seeing a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, this Nordic on the dark side of the moon saw Swan, and he got the distinct impression like the guy was telling him telepathically, why the fuck are you here? You don't belong here.
Right.
Get out of here. After Swan was sent, we kept sending people to the moon, remote viewers. And we distinctly got the message from these guys on the moon, do not keep sending people here. This is off limits. And we didn't listen to them. And the last viewer that we sent up there, his soul is trapped on the moon. His body is in a coma in a special medical facility run by the CIA. And his family has been given like medical compensation or whatever. They told him, like, they told his family that the guy had died in the line of duty or whatever. And he's been held in stasis for years and years as they wait for his soul to come back from the moon, where apparently there's the capacity to lure and trap somebody's consciousness, which they finally did to one of these CIA remote viewers after repeatedly telling them not to surveil whatever's going on up there.
He got those flintlock woods on.
Hybrid agenda, as there is, what is it?
Yeah, so there are many hybrid agendas. Again, as I was mentioning, there are darker, let's say draconian, reptilian kind of agendas. And the purpose of them are the destruction and fragmentation of the soul. When a soul is fractalized, it becomes entangled in a space, in a dimension. And so that means that it has to keep coming back. That's what the reincarnation cycle is about. We essentially keep reincarnating in loops, and we keep repeating things. And for some of us, we've been repeating in loops for centuries. We have lives and lives that are condensed into maybe this one dimension for a long time. And the key is that when the human wakes up consciousness, they can break those cycles, those patterns. So the hybridization program functions in the same way. It is the sustainability of the interdimensional matrix. And the interdimensional matrix is functioning within the 13 dimensional layers of this realm, 13 dimensions, from which all of these species that we talk about, from the draconians to the arcturians to the light beings to the highest dimensional level, all of those races are managing different kinds of exchange of consciousness in order to fractalize and utilize soul core life force. So this hybridization program that is inverted is terrestrial. There is a terrestrial program that is managed by the Biological Warfare Department here in
Governments,
yeah,
shadow governments.
exactly. And this shadow government that manages these hybridization programs are primarily focused on cloning. They also utilize our DNA in order to create clones. And the purpose of that is in order to create alternate worlds that continue to sustain life force for the more parasitic systems in our reality. They feed off of clones, which are in unconscious states, beings that are on purpose deactivated DNA. And what happens when you deactivate DNA? You become a programmable organism that you can program and you can bring into reincarnation cycle as many times as you want until the organism somehow wakes up consciousness. And we essentially are whatever generation of those programs.
So we're clones.
And that's a win for the vegetarian.
Out of the 9 stones that was on the breastplate of Tyrus, who is the alter ego of Lucifer, and to your Persian students, the term Tyrus, connected into the Persian lexicon, it means attached or tied to one of the goddesses called Lenore, tied to Lenore. So in the Gospels, the Cypherentian woman came to Christ. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. Prior to the 325 AD conference in Nicene, Turkey, the word of the Lord did not have words that were separated. God's word was all one interconnected code. So the term a connected to the term devil becomes a Cyprian term, which is a dialect of Greek, meaning Advil. Pharmakia, pharmaceutical, the pharmaceutical industrial complex. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil or with Advil, the acronym
to
Lenore.
And he said, Ross, I know this is demonic. We shouldn't be having anything to do with it. It has no control systems, no control surfaces, no visible propulsion system. No dials, no levers, no buttons. It's a shell. It's operated by consciousness. That whatever this is something evil. And they use the words demonic. And I've had conversations with people in the US Air Force where they say, look, this is evil. We know we can't go there because it's bad, it's evil, it's demonic. And I'm saying,
Pero yo nunca había visto unos tenis así.
Que son duros, se llaman Gucci.
El diablo, pero qué maldito tenis.
He has to be a good swimmer.
Hey, listen, y'all maybe gonna think I'm crazy, think I'm back out there again, but listen, I gotta bring y'all in on something that's going on. We've been on to it for a while. I got some inside information. Look, all these vultures up here on the tower, they're not here during the day. They come back at the same time. They're up there charging. They're not real vultures. They're not animals. Those are drones right there. They come back and they charge at this time every day like an Apple Watch up there. So y'all watch out for them vultures by your houses and stuff like that. They got listening devices. They got cameras in them. That's what's going on, y'all.
Error connection with the current AI infection that turns human soul fractals into reptilian snake-like entities that go on to harvest energy for the reptilians.
Good Lord. None of that shit's going down, okay? Those beings, those souls that were fractured and stuck, they've all been rescued. Okay? They're off-world, they've been rescued. And if they've been underground, they're rescued. And they're either and if they are physically alive, they're either working for the White Hats, giving them perspective, giving them knowledge, and or possibly participating in the events that are going on underground now. Or they have crossed out of physicality and they're in one of two places: 4th density Earth or 5th density Earth. That's what I know. All the pieces, all the weapons that the dark side had, they've all been stripped of it. They have nothing left but their wits and us. Okay, they're hiding behind us now. The few that are still here. The real challenge is not so much them, it's those people in the world that we knew nothing about who are human, and those we did know about who are human, that we know and hear their names almost every day. Their level of treachery and treason against humanity is going to be a very, very tough pill to swallow.
We thought it was a bug or something.
Okay, so about 6 years ago or so, Google bought Nest.
Right.
Now, some people know that, but what they don't know is that about a year or two later, what do I call myself? Some idiot professor type pulled apart one of the new Nest thermostats that they were selling and found that they had put a microphone into it without telling anybody. Now, around the same time that they're installing microphones into
Wait. This was the one that you purchased?
No, this is another professor type. Another lunatic like me.
Purchased a Nest.
To investigate it. To find out why the question at the time was, why would Google be so interested in Nest?
Yeah.
Well, the reason they were interested is because it gets put in people's homes, and they were submitting patent applications at the time for new methods of analyzing sounds within the home.
Not gonna lie, that officer's got wheels.
The Joe Biden isn't real rabbit hole continues. Let's get into it. So first, Trump posts this. He kicks this whole thing off again. I was talking about this last year. He states there is no Joe Biden executed in 2020. Biden clone doubles and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities is what you see. Now, what does he mean by this? I may have some answers. Okay, so can we all acknowledge that this guy doesn't look like this guy, and when did this change happen? Then we have these signatures. So this Joe Biden has this signature, and this Joe Biden has this signature, which are two different signatures, which gives way to the auto pen fiasco. Now, Trump says he died in 2020, but from a now deleted post on Ancestry.com that I saved from last year, it says that Joe Biden actually died in 2018. Death place, Guantanamo Bay, which gives way to Trump saying he was executed, and his final resting place is Arlington National Cemetery, in which is the same cemetery where he got inaugurated, where he got a 3-volley salute instead of 4, which signifies a funeral. And you can clearly see here where Donald Trump got inaugurated this year, he gets a 4-volley salute. And speaking of Donald Trump's inauguration, why didn't he put his hand on the Bible when he got sworn in? That's because he was already president. And it's pretty odd that Melania was actually dressed like an undertaker, like she was at her funeral. Maybe for Joe Biden. let's not forget this as well, where the former CIA chief of disguise just declassified this. She was sitting in a meeting pictured here with a mask on the entire time, fooling George Bush Sr. and his entire staff. And that was the early 90s, so you could only imagine what type of masks they have now. I mean, come on, just look at this. And if you guys don't know by now, the Illuminati card game doesn't miss. It predicted everything in the last 30 years. Also, this is the same card game mentioned by Diddy's sex slave. He seemed crazy at the time, but not so much. So there's that. In a very weird sidebar, do you guys remember this? Where in 2015, Kamala Harris's former aide was running a fake Masonic police department in which they were saying they had lineage to the Knights Templar and had jurisdiction over, get this, 33 states. If you know, you know. Can anybody tell me why this Joe Biden, right before he left office, was inducted into this Prince Hall Masonic Lodge? I definitely gotta look into this one. Make sure you guys get into my Telegram. I'm gonna drop some more stuff in there, but what do you guys think about all this? Let me know below.
I don't know what's going on here in Enterprise, Alabama, but this is weird.
Zuschauer drauf, dann sag ich Bescheid.
Oh, hell nine. What is the spit made of?
Science proves that human beings only see 4% what's in front of them.
Damn.
What happens when we can see 10% what's in front of us? Would we be in fear? This is the same reason why if you take your Tesla down to the local cemetery and you sit there with your barometric camera on, you're going to see human beings walking around on that camera that you can't see with your own visual perception. Why is that? What is that about? Why do scientists come out and say that the afterlife takes a place in another dimension?
Which I think for sure.
Why is that? I've seen people dying. I looked at people's faces when they was checking out. They looking past me. They looking past you. Whatever they looking at is not what we thinking.
It's like that thing that happened in the Vietnam War where they had that special dye on their glasses and they're seeing monsters that was there and then they take them off and they're not there.
Really? I didn't know about that. That's crazy.
It's a certain dye that they actually banned in America.
Oh, was that Agent Orange or was that something else?
No, it's something else.
It was a dye that they used to color the lenses on night vision goggles. They went from a red spectrum to the current spectrum that we on now, which is green, grays, and white. When they was using the red spectrum, soldiers complained that they seen monsters.
Look, the sun's over this way. It's like setting over this way. What the f is that? Okay? Seriously, what is that if the sun's setting over here? The sun's behind this light. That's some Nibiru.
And they're gonna tip him $2.
So from the Rothschilds to the Lee family are protected by the 9 Black Greek secret societies of Black fraternities and Black sororities. Well, in the 1969 book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, Alpha Phi Alpha protects the Rothschilds. Kappa Alpha Psi protects the Oppenheimers. Omega Psi Phi protects the Warburgs. Phi Beta Sigma protects the Rockefellers. Iota Phi Theta protects the Astor family. Alpha Kappa Alpha protects the Bilderbergs. Delta Sigma Theta protects the Habsburg family that exists to this day. Zeta Phi Beta another Boule secret society, protects the Sassoons, and Sigma Gamma Rho, RHO, protects the Lee family. Wait a minute now. So you have 9 Black Greek letter secret societies. And if you guys heard Kamala Harris when she was in Vegas during the campaign, to my divine 9 sisters, what she's talking about, the Greek pan-Hellenic divine 9.
She said that?
She said that.
By the Beetlejuice gods, where can I buy this?
And it turns out that the basic thing that these evil beings want is to create Satanism. And this is one of the most fascinating things I only learned in 2021 from new briefings, that anywhere these beings go, any planet they go in our galaxy, they're going to create pentagrams, they're going to create ritual magic, they're going to have people wear robes, they're going to have people wearing face masks, burning candles, chanting to this very real artificial intelligence that we think of as Satan. It actually does exist. There is a satanic AI that has become essentially like a soul. It's got its own unique abilities, and it can appear as a human being, which apparently it does, in a base in Antarctica called Lucifer's Palace. If you go in there, it's very amazing. There's no other building like it on Earth. You really feel that this would be the entity that controls the planet, and this being will consolidate into a human form and appear that way in front of you. So what I'm saying is that your typical Aleister Crowley type of Satanism, where there is, all these things I mentioned, the robes, the candles, the chanting, the masks, pentagram, and of course the sacrifice.
What is in the meat? With some meat in it, add 1 ml of water. Going to sonicate the mixture. The fatty layer going to the top. So let's spin this out. Spin this guy out. Analyze the murky layer in the middle. All right, so there's the layer separated. And it's into the small molecules on the big boy, the Zebo, Q-Top. Looks like this. Quick preview. How we're doing things. No exclusion list. Ramp on the collision energy. But look at the gradient. MZ mine, and it looks like this. And then you can molecules identified. We have carnosine, we have theobromine, we have carnitine. Looks like a putrescine.
He don't bite, he battles.
This is broad daylight. With about 2 miles of chemtrail. Broad daylight.
What the f is going on in Denver? Why was sky red this morning, the 2nd of June, 25?
It's a roach in my food, bro. It's a roach in my food. Oh, it is roach eggs.
Roach running laps and doing the Cupid shuffle.
She was thrown in jail for trying to make herself look like Angelina Jolie. Before all her work, Sahar Tabar looks like a typical 19-year-old, and she had a dream of being famous. But that dream wasn't working out, so she started altering her features to look like her idol, Angelina Jolie, and shared it all online. That was effective and really brought her into the spotlight. She was getting millions of views online, hundreds of thousands of followers, but her approach to fame backfired in ways she never expected. Online, she claimed to have over 50 procedures to accomplish this artist look, but the reality was she just used makeup and Photoshop. And because of that, she was imprisoned for corruption of youth, along with charges which included blasphemy, inciting violence, and gaining income through inappropriate means.
It's a weird world we're living in.
As y'all can see, this is the map. This is from 1587. Antarctica is represented. Tropical. Those beings hadn't came through yet and turned into ice. Africa, United States. Look at all the land masses. They all connected. They lied to us. The crazy thing about this map, Australia ain't represented because Australia wasn't founded until 1901.
My dad treated me like a rose.
Hey, go on here with all that. Go on over there with all that. Go. I'm not even in the mood today. Get away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Go.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Seth, come on over here.
The eye popping was her last straw.
Dude, electricity is just like water flowing through a pipe. And that's just not true. And that's why, to me, they keep peddling that idea. You don't know what the pyramids are. And then anybody who learns about electricity and then starts hearing about the potential of the pyramids, you're like, crackpot.
Yeah.
Crackpot.
Don't listen to him.
But when you then understand that it's very simple, AC versus DC. AC, they just wiggle the electrons back and forth. That's it. They just wiggle them back and forth. Okay, so the electrons don't go anywhere. No, they just wiggle back and forth. So you're telling me that you turn on AC power and miles away, you've wiggled electrons, but you never sent them to me. You never moved them anywhere. You never moved them from A to B. But somehow you've been able to wiggle my electrons at my house and my wires.
That sounds so funny.
It does sound funny.
Wiggle my electric.
You've been wiggling mine. But how did they get there? How did they get there? You never sent them to me. DC's direct current. You're sending electrons somewhere. They go from A to B. They go from the negative side of the battery to the positive side. They travel, right? AC doesn't do that. AC just wiggles the little back and forth where they are. That's it. Therefore, you never sent me anything. So how did it get here? It was already there. That is what changed everything to me. With electricity.
Yeah.
That's when the moment I realized, like, it's already there. Because a transformer doesn't touch, but electricity flows through it. But they don't touch. It's wireless in your box and your power lines outside right now. Right now is two coils sitting very close to each other, but they don't touch, and electricity is passing through it.
Yeah.
So electrons just jump from one to the other. They were already there. They don't jump over. This is all nonsense, dude. It's all nonsense. The moment I came to realize those electrons powering that light right there were already there. They didn't come here. They were already there. So we have been looking at it all wrong.
Yep.
That's it. And I think those pyramids figured it out.
And that goes along with a lot of things. You just have to learn how to tap into it. It already is there. It
already
exists.
Yes.
That's my theory on AI.
Yeah.
It already exists. We just tapped into it.
Correct.
And that goes for so many things that we just.
No one invents anything. They discover it.
Yeah. Literally. I mean.
Everything's a discovery because it was already there.
Yep.
If you found it, it was already there. It was already there for us to find. You know, like, so this whole thing to me is just wild. Why are we being lied to?
Yeah.
Why aren't they telling us this? Why aren't they giving us this info? Oh, Wait a minute, that would just totally wipe out all of the powers that be, and now no one has power over any of us, and now we can harness all the power ourselves, and we're off the grid. We could just do whatever we wanted, and now teleportation and free energy and medical advancements beyond our dream. No wonder they don't want us to have this.
Makes a lot more sense when you actually think about all the things it would disrupt with the controlled environment and planetary system that we have going on. They don't want to lose control.
They want nothing to do
No.
with that.
So
JP
they're gonna
Morgan
shut
said
it
it.
down.
If you can't meter that, I don't want it.
I absolutely hate videos like this, but I am going for my morning freaking walk, and I have got to be tripping here, dog. I gotta be tripping. Every morning I go for a walk, and every morning the sun glare is in the same freaking spot. Blinds me right from that direction. So tell me why the sun is over here. Why the hell is the sun over here when it should be over here? What? Oh well. Oh well, right? So I kind of thought I might have been mistaken, but I'm not mistaken here. I'm going to have to move this hydrangea because it doesn't get full sun. And that's because the sun rises over there, gives me morning sunlight, and then kind of goes, ends right there, exactly where it did yesterday. This dude is coming up over here and looking very freaking weird. It's coming up right there, which would give me full fucking sun. What the hell? I guess I don't have to move my hydrangea. Damn it, man.
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one world government.
Right.
Now I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1996, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality. Babylon is in Iraq. Read the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the book or not, read it, because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
Well, the UN did indeed charter Israel as a sovereign nation. They were the ones who created this state.
That is correct. It was really created by Great Britain and the United States, with the United States being the major instigant.
Is this the agenda we should be aware of?
Reagan also talk about the bloodline of Jesus?
Yes. So apparently the Templars, and this is controversial, but apparently the Templars knew that Jesus had children.
That's what I hear.
And apparently the
With Mary Magdalene.
I guess so. And apparently they kept a written record of where this bloodline went because it had to be protected. And
Well, we have a clip of Megan talking about Jesus' bloodline. Let's take a look at that.
There is a bloodline of Christ. Does that hold magical properties? Is that the bloodline that they were always searching for and they knew who was part of the bloodline of Christ?
There are descendants of Jesus in our world currently, and we know that what a strong soul he was. And so that bloodline in his DNA, it exists in this world. And the Templars know that, actually. They're aware of who those individuals are, and that is a protected bloodline. And so when we talk about the cup of life, for example, when the cup of life is found on this island, which it will be, those descendants of his bloodline are going to be able to go there and light up that cup of life, and they'll be able to activate that so easily because that comes from a long history of his specific bloodline.
How did she know this, Sarah?
she's under hypnosis right there, so she didn't know this stuff consciously. In fact, Megan was a perfect hypnosis subject because she didn't really have any conscious knowledge.
Is this from a reincarnated being?
Yeah, so she came in for a session with me to just heal herself. She had a lot of physical issues. She didn't know, any of this stuff consciously. That's what makes the work that I do so fascinating, because I feel like I can find out anything when a person
you never know what they're
deep.
going to say.
Yeah. And you know what's so interesting about this particular bloodline of Christ, and that it had to be protected, is apparently, and it seems like the Templars even know this, that when this Holy Grail is found, it could be activated by someone with this bloodline. It's just like so many of these ancient artifacts that we have. It takes the right person with the right bloodline to be able to activate it. But what's also really interesting is that as we evolve our consciousness and as we go through this ascension process, it seems like even if you had a past life as one of these characters, you contain within your soul a specific like soul bloodline that is being activated right now. So a person that had a past life as one of these characters could also activate this cup of life. And this cup of life, or what they called the Holy Grail, seems to be a real thing that they would pass around and would activate with the right bloodline and with the right group. And it would show you the secrets of the universe, which is that really what you're doing here is working on your ascension and expansion of your soul, and that you're eternal. So you wouldn't find everlasting life in this life. You would just be aware and downloaded with the information that you had everlasting life on the other side.
To jail.
So we send you to jail?
Yes, the bus, the cafeteria, the lunch plates, the hallways, basketball, the outside of it, and back to the buses.
So where are you going?
They're sending us to jail.
It's called programming.
If you saw this story, Jeremy, but basically Ron DeSantis tried to take away Disney World's rights of self-governance, since they're pushing all the child grooming stuff lately. And Disney World came back and was like, not so fast. We only answer to the crown. And this is just almost hilarious if you know what's going on, because they would never ever admit this unless they were forced to in a situation like this. But they basically admitted, like, you don't have jurisdiction over us because we're owned by Britain. So for those of you who are like confused by this, apparently the land that Disney World is on is owned by the crown. And so since like 1960, Disney World has basically been a tax-free sovereign district, you know, exempt from taxes and anything to do with federal statutes. And they basically claim to just be like an apolitical charity. You know, Disney does a lot of charity work so that they can be tax exempt. Then they started pushing all this woke stuff, and so Ron DeSantis was like, all right, guys, you want to get involved in politics? Then let's do politics. We're going to take away your tax exempt status in Florida. But then Disney World came back and pulled out this clause from the British Bill of Rights, which is a royal clause that dates back to like 1692. And it says that essentially Britain has sovereignty over any territory of the crown until the last descendant of King Charles III has passed. And
他给我家人留个钱嘛。我还给你翻过去了，你翻，来，给你翻过去了。怪你毛病什么毛病？翻过来。说，怪你毛病。翻过来。我不要。翻过来。你翻过来。你凶家，你爸，你翻过来。是他家家伙。就这样。我怪你毛病什么毛病？我怪你毛病什么毛病？你吃。怪你毛病什么毛病？我怪你毛病什么毛病？我叫你说，我怪你毛病什么毛病？你毛钱都下来，我怪你毛病。死大了，但是你这个毛也不活，你不一样嘛。
They took the game to the next level. And that's a wrap on this episode, fool. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to hit and smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe button, be part of the family. Remember, stay woke, and I'll catch you next time.